So something that I hear a lot of people say, and that I've said lots and lots and lots of times, is how could someone do something like that? Why would someone do something like that? Why do people do those things? Or I just cannot understand why someone would do that, etc., etc. The reality is that we are a global community of a collection of very different people, different cultures, different views, different histories, different life experiences, and we're all here together, which means that we're going to be different, right? It doesn't mean that some people are right and some people are wrong, or that some people are good and some people are bad. It means that this is what we are right now. And sure, there are things that could change that would benefit a lot of people and nature and animals, and that's something that we need to work towards. However, if we keep addressing each other and addressing the social issues that we're facing with that mindset of, I don't understand how someone could do that, we're immediately essentially distancing ourselves from each other. We're saying, look at how much we're not the same. Look at how different we are. Look at how much I'm better than you because I don't do the things that you do, because the things that you do don't make sense, apparently. I found a pretty useful exercise to do for myself in these situations where when I cannot understand someone, when I'm in this state of absolute shock and awe that a human would do a certain thing. And I will imagine myself in their life. So take a moment to imagine that you were born in a completely different place, in a different time, to a different family. You grew up with different experiences. Let's say, for example, that you never learned how to read or write. How different would your life be? Would you be the person you are now? Would you have the beliefs that you have now? Would you be even sitting here watching this video if you never learned how to read or write? Probably not. Imagine that you were born into a home where both of your parents are alcoholics, you have multiple brothers and sisters, it's a tiny little shack that 12 people all live in. There's no running water, there's no electricity. The school that you go to, the teachers don't give a shit about you, no one could care less. Your friends are starting to do drugs. Imagine being born into that's your life, that you are functionally illiterate because no one gave a shit about teaching you how to read or write. You don't know how to do maths. You don't know how to critically analyze a situation. You don't know how to deal with these rampant emotions that you're going through, including this rage as to this fucking terrible existence that you've been born into that you can't seem to change because you don't have any tools to change it. All you know is what you know. So imagine that millions of people live that life, had that childhood. Some of them were lucky enough to change and create a better life for themselves. Most don't. So we're living in a world where there are a lot of disadvantaged people. There are a lot of people who don't have the things that you and I have. And when I say you and I'm assuming that because you're sitting somewhere watching a video on the internet. Not everyone has that luxury. And another way to look at it is, imagine you were born 500 years ago in the Dark Ages, and you absolutely 100%, along with your family, your entire village, believed that witchcraft is real and that you need to burn people at the stake to get rid of their evil spirit, and that you would burn animals alive to protect your village. And you thoroughly 100% believed that to be true. would you have been the same person that you are now? Would you have the same beliefs? Would you have the same ability to express and communicate? Would you have the same ability to develop relationships? Would the same things have been important to you? And do all of these things mean that you would be a completely different person? It's kind of an interesting question because it brings in the whole nature versus nurture thing. And there's no way to really answer that 100%. But asking ourselves these questions allows us to place ourselves in a different position and to consider things a little bit differently to how we do now, because we get so stuck in to our way of thinking and thinking that everyone only thinks the way that we do, and that the reason why someone did something must be because of this reason, because that's the only reason that I could think it could be. And the reality is that most of the time it's not. Most of the time we don't take the time to really connect with someone on a level of who they are and find out who they are. We don't take the time to really get to know someone to the point where we can understand their point of view. We prefer to stand back, point fingers, and judge them and say, I could never understand how someone could do that. That immediately builds a wall. I mean, how are we going to fix any of the issues in the world if that's our approach to anything that's different to our way of thinking? World change is going to come from each of us changing ourselves, changing the way that we relate to each other, and changing our ability to really stand in someone else's shoes to the point where we say, you know what, it's absolutely unacceptable that children are born into those conditions, that people have to live in shacks, that not everyone has access to decent health care, that not everyone has access to warm clothes and a warm bed, that people driven to addiction have nowhere to go, have no way to help themselves, have no support structure that addresses the cause of why they went to those addictions in the first place. So when we collectively all stand together and say this is not acceptable, how can we develop solutions for it? How can we help those people who are in these positions? How can we help each other to be better people? That's when we're going to start creating change. All right. Thank you very much for watching. You're going to see me next time.